I'm hearing the music now.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Woo!
Now
Midlife.
we're all showing up.
Yay!
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Midlife Talkshop with Rhonda and Shannon.
Hi there.
We have a great guest for you guys today, a music rock star.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's me. Hey, I'm a rock star.
So today's guest is actually a very longtime friend of mine. His creative journey I've had the privilege of watching up close for many years. Steve Van Dam is our guest, and he is a musician, composer,
Whoa.
producer, and creative entrepreneur
And
who I
rock star.
first met, and a rock star, of course, not to forget. I first met him when we were both students at JMU, James
Dukes.
Madison
Go
University.
Dukes.
Yeah, JMU's doing good this year.
Yeah, they are.
Back then, he was a founding member of the band Everything, and they were one of the most fun, popular bands on campus. Everything ended up touring nonstop throughout the 90s. They got signed to a major record label. They landed a top 10 hit with the song Who Got the Hooch?
Who
Baby.
got the-
Baby. And they released a total of 7 albums. That's quite a prolific musical
Do you-
journey.
that
you
song,
were
Who
on.
Got the Hooch, that was on like in the 90s, right? It was
Oh,
on the
yeah.
radio.
Oh, yeah, it was on the
remember
radio. I remember
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys going on the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Yeah.
What?
They were hitting it the big
Yeah.
time. Yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
We played radio shows. So, you know, like radio stations do like a big, like HF Festival or whatever. We played radio shows for like 3 years because it was on the radio for 3 years. It was on Modern Rock, and then
Yeah.
it was on AAA, and
Playing
then it was
all
on Pop.
the time. It was like a summer anthem.
And we played with like everybody. We played with Beyonce and Coolio and
Right.
like
So exciting.
you name it. Like back then, like Third Eye Blind, Candlebox, like all of those bands. We played with all of them because that's those radio shows.
Dave
It
Matthews,
was
can you
crazy.
say
Oh,
that?
Dave.
He's like your buddy.
God bless Dave. Like we came up together, and obviously like they went like pew
Right.
up into the stratosphere. When Under the Table and Dreaming came out, he took us on tour with him for like a 2-month tour through the West.
That
Like,
was fun. I was
oh my
I
God.
was
Oh,
I was
that's
there
right.
for a
You
couple of the
came out.
dates.
You
I
came out
sure
to
did.
California. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I did.
Totally.
That must have been super
And
fun.
here's the fun fact about Dave Matthews. Awesome dude. Every single show, there was not a show that we performed opening up for him that he did not come out and introduce us at the beginning of the show and bring all of his fans like
Yeah.
into like, hey, these are my boys from Virginia.
Yes.
Every single show.
What a
Yeah.
nice guy.
Yeah.
What a super nice guy. And I
Top
wanted to
notch.
ask you something. I believe, was it Adam Sandler's movie? What was it called? Waterboy?
Waterboy, yeah.
Waterboy. How did that happen?
Yeah,
Your
how did
song,
Who
Hooch-
Got the
Yeah.
Hooch end up in
Yes.
the Waterboy?
Just magic. We didn't do anything to make that happen. We just heard from Adam Sandler's people that like he wanted to use it in the movie, and we were like, yes, you can. And
That's what happens
they
when
did
you
get
get signed
permission.
to a record
They did.
label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was like it's perfect in that moment in the movie where they're kind of falling in love, and I won't spoiler alert, but yeah, there's a funny story about like we were in Indiana when it came out, and so we like were in our tour bus and we like pull into this mall parking lot, get out, buy 10 tickets, go in, watch the movie, and Craig, our singer, is like on the end of our row where like there's these 2 middle-aged women. And like as the movie goes, he's like, I'm feeling this weight on my arm, and like our song is up on the big screen. First time this has ever happened in our lives.
Very exciting.
And he looks over and like this woman has fallen asleep on his
no.
arm.
No, because in
So-
midlife you need naps.
No.
But that's
we
kind
know
of like
that now, right?
right?
Yes.
It's kind of a good little like nutshell of our whole experience. There were like some amazing epic things, and there was also just like some crazy,
Right.
surreal, just like
You probably
Put
could
you
write
in
a
your
book.
place, make
You
you
probably could write a book
humble you.
about
Yeah,
your
totally.
experience.
Yep.
Totally.
So, Steve, I was wondering, how old were you when you discovered passion? That music was your passion.
Yeah.
Did it happen when you were a child? And how did that come to be?
the book starts for me at age 5. I mean, as early as I can remember. I wouldn't like my older brothers were getting piano lessons, and I just wouldn't let them alone. I was just like, get me on that piano. And then I remember really distinctly. I don't know how old I was, but like very young. And I was like underneath the piano, but I could like reach up above me and like press the lowest keys down, and I was pressing them down and holding them, and it makes this like, it almost sounds like a plane flying over, like.
Cool.
Wow.
And I just distinctly remember that. So sound and music has always been my thing, and it's easy now to look back on a 30-year career and be like, you know, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, but it wasn't like that. It was always like like figuring stuff out. Like the path is actually like super crooked and like like dead end here and that didn't work and try this but yeah, it's always been music. The through line has definitely always been music.
I mean, you were in like the marching band in high school.
Totally, drum major. Of the
Ooh,
marching
you're the
band.
drum major.
Yeah.
Hey, I was in the marching band too. I played the flute.
There you go.
For like 8 years.
Marching band is awesome. I
fun.
still love marching band. Just that sound of a marching band is just the best.
That was kind of cool that you all got to go back to JMU.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And take part in the halftime.
Oh, my God. So for me, like, talk about a full circle thing. I was at JMU studying composition and theory. I was in that marching band, the Marching Royal Dukes, which happens to be the biggest marching band in the
They're
country.
incredible.
Wow.
400. I think they might be over 500 now, but back then they were like 400. So we got to come back and play our song live on the field during a football game.
It was amazing. I
Sold
saw it
out.
because it was
Oh my God.
televised.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
And I got to write the music.
Right.
So I wrote the charts for the marching band, and it
The
was just
marching
like
band was out there on the field playing along
with
with
us.
the band.
Yeah.
As y'all were singing.
It was so
playing your
neat.
instruments.
Yeah. It's
That is
also like
so-
a production like nightmare. Like you
Oh,
watch
yeah.
a halftime show and you're like, oh, that's great. They're lip syncing. Like it's all pre-recorded.
Right.
Like they're not playing live with a
No.
marching band that's stretched out 100 yards and
No.
the sound delay is like 2.5 seconds. It's insane what we pulled off. That was
It went off
there were
without
a lot
a
of
hitch.
Yeah, there were a lot of good
It
people.
was very exciting for all of us, everything fans, to see you guys come back to the alma mater and be
Yeah.
able to do that. That
Yeah.
it was near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking a little bit about everything and your whole musical journey when you got started, but let's hear some more fun things about the band and just how you started segueing into producing music after this band thing.
So, fun fact about me is I didn't graduate. I was 6 credits short when we were talking about leaving JMU.
Did your parents
Right.
give
Yeah,
you,
my parents-
give you some...
They weren't
did.
real happy about that?
Well,
or?
we had a good heart to heart about it, and I really, and again, looking back, it's easier to kind of like make it make sense. But like at the time, I knew that I didn't want to do like music composition, like classical art music composition, which was
Right.
that path that I was on, and it was like. If you do that, you go on to like a master's and then a doctorate, and then you're like a composer in residence somewhere. And like every once in a while, you like get a piece performed and nobody comes out and sees it and nobody cares. And like that's that path,
Right.
Like name a classical art music piece that you've listened to in the last 2 years.
Right.
They're like nobody's listening to it. And meanwhile, we're playing shows and people are coming out and like buying
nonstop shows.
stuff and I was just like, I want to do that. I want to be
Right.
where the people are. I want to do
Yes.
that. That's where the juice is.
Exactly.
So-
Probably more fun too, actually.
It's so much more fun.
Yes.
I mean, it's that interaction. That's what makes music magic. Is that like that connection that it has with all of us. That it's that thing.
Yep.
And so for me, it was like I realized at that point where it's like, okay, it's not about that dry classical music pathway. It's about just having the tools of music creation in my hand. And so I was like, okay, well, that's what I want to do. I want to create music, and this is where it's going to be sustainable because people buy tickets, people buy CDs, whatever. And so
and
that was the path.
that live interaction between the person and the band and the audience members. I mean, it's
know.
like there's nothing that beats it.
It's the best drug in the world.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you went on that path of going on the road instead of completing the college
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
And how long did that last? That you
We
guys
were-
were actively touring together.
Over a decade. So
Wow.
and like 200 shows a year. Like
Wow.
we were grinding. Like
Right.
and it was looking back on it, it's like that was our first startup, that we were we had a manager who was incredible, but also we were just figuring stuff out about like how to play music together and how to work with a crowd and like marketing and
Did you
just
all
all
get
that.
along like all the time, or
All the time. We loved each other and it was all hugs and kisses all the time.
They lived together in this not
you see
not-
those movies of the rock and roll bands and they're fighting and
Well, they lived together in this big old farmhouse out in the country
we
in the
did.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that actually helped because we were always together to like rehearse, and we were always together like a family's always together, where you just got to work stuff out, like like you just deal with other people's being a bit different than you are.
Personal
you know?
dynamics
Yeah.
are very interesting.
At least you're out there in the country and you had some space. Where you could,
Totally.
You know.
It was
Totally.
beautiful, and I think it probably lended to your creativity. So since you were all living together, you could at any given moment, if you had some sort of inspiration, you could get together and start jamming
Totally.
and creating music. So
Yeah.
that was a beautiful thing. So that lasted for about 10 years that you were doing that.
Yeah.
And then what happened for you to segue into you turned into a music producer.
Right.
So how did that shake down?
So back to that kind of commitment that I made to myself to have the tools of music creation at my fingertips. Like that's what I wanted to do to create music. And so as we started making albums, I got more and more into the production side of it. And this is like Pro Tools and back then, like, you know, like a big, huge hard drive that held like 250 meg. That was all like the beginnings of digital music production. And I just jumped on that because it was like, oh, this is like all you need right here.
Well, I remember at that time, I was writing some music, some songs myself. I'd written poetry and started writing songs out of college. And I was like playing a little bit of acoustic guitar. And Steve was opening his first studio in his house out in Sperryville or Woodville in the Sticks.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I've got a couple songs. Maybe you can help me. And so I think I became one of the first
Very first. Yeah.
people who you might have produced
Totally.
a demo for.
Totally.
And it was amazing.
So all of you out there that don't know this, Shannon's actually a singer, and she's made.
I wouldn't say I'm a singer.
Well,
No.
you had a song on the radio.
You're definitely
Gino,
a
I'm a
singer-songwriter.
songwriter.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you had your song on the
I'm
radio.
a hobbyist, but I do love it. And
do.
and having that experience with Steve where I would just take some, little songs that I'd come up with and went into the studio with him, and he turned it into something that could have been on the radio. I mean,
Well, you have
all
a beautiful
those
voice.
first songs I felt like could have been on the radio. So I knew that you had great talent. And the other thing is Steve plays all the instruments. So, he can play guitar,
Saxophone.
piano, saxophone, clarinet. He even did a penny whistle on one of my songs.
really?
Yeah, nice.
Penny whistle.
Yeah, that's
So-
really cool.
That is a great ability of yours, and I think that you ended up working with several other artists and bringing out the best in them. And then you got into doing some music for commercials and films and
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. It like, again, that path kind of just turned into like, at first I was doing like everything demos and my own stuff. And then, working with artists like you and then like producing some bands and et cetera, et cetera. And then, had the opportunity to do something it was so funny. It came in from, it was from the Martin Agency and it came in like kind of through these weird channels and it was like, hey, like, can you guys do some pop rock? And me and Craig were like, yeah, of course we can.
Right.
Banged it out, sent it in and didn't hear anything back. And I was like, oh, well, okay. That's
So
how
much for that.
That's how that goes sometimes. And then like 2 months later, I get a check for $10,000.
Whoa,
like
nice.
Are you
and
serious?
it says Miller Genuine Draft, and I'm
Wow.
like, okay, this.
they used it.
Yeah.
They used it.
This is
Didn't
what I
you
want
do
to
a Super Bowl commercial too? Some music for or something to do with?
I pitched for several, which was super exciting. But I did. There's some really amazing stuff. It was my career for 10 years was making music for
Right.
film and television
Yeah.
and
Did
a
you
lot of commercials.
Go out to LA because I had some
No.
friends that
Never
were out
went
there.
to LA. Did it from Virginia.
Did it from
Did it from
Virginia.
Virginia.
It was funny because it shifted the industry shifted to like it didn't have to be LA. Now you
Right.
could just get a QuickTime movie in the emails and a little bit of creative direction, and then you would just send music back in, and they would.
You could fly the files over,
Right.
you know?
Right?
Right?
There was this
Isn't
thing
that a
called
term?
Dropbox that you could like
Dropbox.
put files
Yeah.
into, and so I did that. I did a thing called Bomb Chicka Wawa, which was pretty wild. With
Hey, I came
Axe.
into the studio
You
for
did.
that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
did a
Bomb
little
Chicka
vocal.
Wawa.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah,
that go?
That was
Bomb
fun.
Chicka Wah Wah. That's it's like my second hit song. Like it had like millions and millions of
Oh, it was so
of
good.
spins.
I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to put that sound clip on this
Right?
on this
Yes.
episode.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So listen, now it's been more than 2 decades later. You were a producer for a good while, right? For 10 years, you said? 10
Yeah,
years?
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the band, everything, decided to reunite. How did that come about?
So lots of different things kind of happened where when we stopped playing, it wasn't like we were, mad at each other or anything. It was just we had our label Sire Records got bought by London Records, and they fired everybody. That was the beginning of the record label
unraveling.
mergers and acquisitions and all that. Yeah, and the unraveling of the music industry, basically, because MP3s came out and they were free. And like ever since then, like the music industry has been like trying to catch up. But anyway, so for almost 20 years, we were friends. I played with Nate and this amazing musician, Andy Waldeck, from a band called Egypt. We played in like an event band for like
They
over
started
a decade.
a great band called E3.
Yeah,
one of my
so much fun.
favorite bands to this day.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
Played
Just
at my wedding.
three-piece, right?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. And we would sing the horn lines, like all three of us sing, and it was like power trio, so we were super agile. Like we could like do these crazy mashups kind of on the fly. And
I love a horn line too.
Unbelievable.
right?
I mean, that
And
is
we just we
so
had
much
such a
fun.
blast.
So you're like producing and in this new band, this trio band, for many years.
Yeah, and that's really like between the two of those things, that's what paid the bills for that time period. And then we started talking. Craig and Nate and I are kind of the three lifers in the band, and
Nate is the drummer. Craig is the lead singer.
and all of us have always been the writers too, like the real principal writers of the band. And we started talking. Andy was funny because like Egypt had done some reunion shows, and he was like, "Dude, you guys, why aren't you guys doing like these shows?
Right.
Like your fans want to see you." And
And your fans are all like old midlifers now.
well, empty nesters. It's funny because like now it's like everybody's got like, just like when you're like in your 20s and you've kind of got disposable income.
Yeah.
Now like empty nesters, like same
Right.
deal. It's just like, yeah, I got money to spend. Like
Although Rhonda and I are still hanging in there. We're not quite
Yeah.
empty nesters yet.
not yet, but
We
you
got
know,
a little
like,
bit of a late start
Yeah.
on the second kid for me. So, you
Yeah.
know,
You have 3 more years, Shannon.
I still
There you
have one
go.
in the nest.
3 more years,
my
you know, and then
goodness.
it's like, look out. Woo.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it, but I know we have to put our little birdie out of the nest.
Yeah.
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 It'll
It
be
is. It's a
sad.
loss. It's a loss for
Yeah.
sure.
So everybody's kids are kind of growing up, and then you guys are getting back together and saying, let's go do some gigs again.
Yeah, and Craig has been on an amazing journey as a human being, and one of the things he's doing now is executive coaching. And so as we started talking about this, like the three of us, me, Craig, and Nate, he was like, yeah, let's just get together and hang out and see how that is, you know, and maybe we'll bring our instruments. And so like the way we kind of got into it and the way that we started doing stuff was just this much more democratic, like we have this thing called 3 yeses where like the three of us all have to be like, yeah, that's it, you know,
like
and
it.
that has worked for the songwriting, the production, everything about this new album that we just made. But the hang was good. That was the thing. Like when we got together and just hung out and like started playing music again, it was just like, oh yeah, this.
Yeah.
You know, it was just amazing.
Right.
How does it feel now that you're in midlife, you're back up on stage and you're playing out, right? And you've got another album?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've just released their 8th album.
Yeah,
So
this
this
is
one's called Motion Emotion.
Yeah. Motion Emotion is a completely different album than we ever made before because the way that we made it was totally our own way. Like we did a Kickstarter and raised like about 40 grand. And we thought we were going to go into studios and do it. And we did do a great session at Sound and Music Studio with John Moran. Shout out. He's just the best. But what we found was we rented a VRBO up in Wintergreen was the first one. And that experience of just going in, kind of clearing out everything in the main area, setting up our stuff, and then recording and just having that space to just live and hang and create was like, oh, this. Totally different from a studio.
And what surprised you this time, or what was different coming back many years later and cutting another album and getting together again?
We had 20 years of life to kind of draw on, which was amazing. And like, you know, getting married and having kids and maybe getting divorced and like just all of that, you know, the ups and downs of life and how amazing it is. So we had that to draw on. And then we had this new way of working together because it used to be like Craig would bring in a song and we would all kind of figure out, oh, I'll play this guitar part on it or whatever. But this process for this album was like, we came in with like little bits and pieces of stuff. And then you'd say, okay, so I came up with this idea. Now, Craig, you put something on it. And Nate, you put something on it. And we built it that way. And that it really shows in the album. I think that it's the most cohesive album that I think we've ever made.
It seems like y'all were very collaborative on this album.
And we were patient. I think that was that's different from 20 years ago. And we were also just really willing to hear what the other person was doing and go with that instead of kind of maybe where you're like, oh no, I want to do this. So
did you appreciate it more, like to be all together and at this time in your life?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think there's a sweetness now where it's like old friends, that's also part of it. And just we love each other. And like that part of it is as precious as the music now, where I think before it was much more about the music and like that was powerful. And now it's like the hang and the music.
That's really cool.
I have a question. So how does it compare making music in your 20s? Mm-hmm. And on the stage and everything that was going on back then to making music in your 50s and now you're back on stage. How is it? I mean, we can assume how it's different, but what are some funny little things?
Are the girls throwing their bras and their underwear on stage?
I don't know if they're necessarily
there aren't
doing
any girls.
That.
There's people our age, so there's not. It's. I would say, I mean, we were in our 20s, so it was like we were just kind of crazy and like 20-year-old, like, and we put on great shows and had a lot of fun and all that, but like there was this like, there is now this much more deeper connection to what we're doing, like that spiritual connection to music where like we play a song and it's like we have the patience to kind of let it develop and keep like building and like that emotional connection to it all the way through.
I will say this though, because I went to an Everything reunion show last year, I think it was, and it was packed. It was at that place on Broad Street.
Reveille. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, no.
No, that's Carrie. It was on Broad.
What's the name of it? Broadberry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was at the Broadberry.
Yeah.
It was fully packed.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I was there, and we were all wanting to hear the old songs from back in the day.
Right.
And when you played them, I mean, we might as well be 20-something again because the whole crowd, it was so energetic, went wild. I mean, just the appreciation of the fans, I think, for hearing the music now is probably even greater. Yeah. So
we get to have both of that. I think that's the great thing now is like we get to have that like reminiscent, like those amazing moments that we had
it's so
when we were
nostalgic. I mean, you know how music, it just brings back memories. If you hear a song, you're riding in the car and you hear a song, it just brings you back to that moment in time that the feeling, like you can just relive a feeling that you had just from hearing a song.
Music is so powerful.
It really is.
Even when I was in acting class, we would use music to bring back a memory, to get us into an emotional state.
Totally.
So it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's magic. It just does that thing like, I don't even, how does that work?
How does that work?
I don't know.
So you started to shift towards something new when you came up with the idea for this business.
Right. So Light the Music started probably like 15 years ago. And it came out of two things. One was a shift in my life of that thing that I was doing, music to picture and commercials and all that stuff, changed. That model changed. It was like, what's in your library? And we only have 1/10 of the budget that we used to have for custom score.
Right.
And so that's when I really took a step back and I was like, well, what do I want to do now? Because doing the band was easy. That was exactly what I wanted to be doing. And then it just went directly into producing and recording and doing all that stuff. But then this shift into Light the Music was bigger. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do.
So explain what Light the Music is and what you do with that company, because it's really powerful, Steve.
So basically that commitment that I made to myself coming out of college, which was like, I want to have the tools of music making at my fingertips. It's that idea, except like I want to have anybody have the tools of making music at their fingertips. And the thing that music technology does now is makes that possible. So for instance, we're using GarageBand, and like day one in GarageBand, everybody makes a piece of music. And then over 15 years of kind of working with that programming, we've come up with this kind of way to do it that Everybody feels heard. Everybody feels safe. And like day one, you're not going to make something that sounds like not necessarily that sounds like a hit. You're going to make something that's maybe interesting, or maybe it's a little abstract, or whatever that is.
Well, just to back up a little bit, so you're going into schools, or even, is it correctional facilities?
Yeah.
I mean, you're taking this. Is it a software that you've developed, or it's a program that you're going in? And is everybody on iPads and they're starting to make music there in the room?
Yeah. So what we've done has shifted around a lot over, like we started off with an iPad app back in the early days. And then we did programming for kids with disabilities, which had a hot second until COVID hit. And then since then, we pivoted into schools where music technology is a class that middle and high school kids take.
And this
which
might
is awesome.
Supplement that program?
And this is the curriculum. So we do curriculum and training for teachers that, like, maybe you're a band director, but you're not a music technology person. So we train you up. We shifted our focus in the last year to not just be music technology, but to be any kind of digital creative career skills. So basically anything that you have an idea and a computer and you can create value, right?
Right.
That can be jobs. That can be like, you can be a content creator. You could be a podcaster.
Can you create an app with that?
Totally. You can. Absolutely. You can, with these career skills, you can do any of that stuff: marketing, branding, entrepreneurship.
Wow.
All of that. So that's
so cool.
Yeah. The focus on schools right now, in schools, is like, we want to either get you into college or into CTE programming, like HVAC or whatever.
Right.
Or we want to have you enroll in the armed services. So it's the 3 E's. It's like enlist, employ, enroll, right? So we started looking at, okay, well, how can we be something that's a little bit bigger than just this little music technology niche that we're trying to sell to music teachers? And so we built this this platform of career skills. We looked at all of those digital career skills, and then we built this foundational, starting with music technology, but then it branches out into like graphic design, or it branches into entrepreneurship, or like, what do you need to know if you're a record label, like in 2025, like, what does that look like? So we built this curriculum, and then I had the opportunity to go into a juvenile detention facility here in Richmond, and it just was like wildfire. The kids were just like,
tell
yes,
me the
please.
impact that's made on these kids.
It's amazing. In 6 months, they've had a 50% reduction in behavioral incidents. They've had a 97% engagement rate. It's funny because I was teaching these classes, and I'm not a music class teacher, but I've got enough experience that I can do it. But like, I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Like, I'm going into a juvenile detention facility, and I'm like, what's this going to be like, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And like day one, it was like kids in headphones, just like, and the way that we have this structured is like, it's just a little skill, and then you play with it, you create something, and then you share it with the group.
Yeah.
Right. And these kids were just like 100% engaged.
It's just the magic of what music can do inside a person's soul and spirit.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And these kids haven't had those opportunities, right?
Right.
These kids have had like some really rough
lives.
beginnings to their lives. And so they were just like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, I will. And I was talking to the teacher who, like, I had kind of taken over his class, and I was like, these kids are amazing. They're so engaged. And he was like, in this class they are.
Yeah.
Right.
So
because
what
they're
about,
into it.
What were you saying about the creativity? It's like, what if?
Oh, yeah.
And talk about how music helps with the neuroplasticity of the brain, and also emotional regulation, how it's such a benefit to the kids. And I think they really need it right now.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, all of that, like the ability to express. And the thing that we didn't expect to see was how much it changed the kids and how much it changed the facility, like the staff that are in there with them. Like I think this is what I think. I think when you open the door to creativity, you say, hey, walk in through this door. What that is like asking the question of what's possible. So these kids are now like saying, hey, what's possible? I didn't know
They
this
might
was
have
possible.
hope where they didn't have
Before.
hope.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. And like, yeah, if you start asking what's possible, then like, you know, maybe it's possible
Anything's
that like
possible.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You know, like there are these pathways that are, oh, I can do that. And there's actually a kid that just got out who I'm like talking with. He wants to be a producer, and so I'm like helping him keep going with that. And it's like that impact, you know, like
that's amazing.
I love
I'm
it.
so stoked.
Yes, that's really, really amazing work that you're doing, Steve.
And
then you're giving back, you know, you're giving back your passion and helping these other kids maybe find theirs.
Well,
Totally.
I think for me, I feel like as you get older, I mean, when you're in your 20s, you're kind of all about you. I mean, weren't we all?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's one of the good things about getting older and getting to the midlife is you are more about how can I help someone else, because that's where I find my purpose, actually.
Yeah.
In the end, it's not about how I've been trying to help myself all these years. When you start reaching out to make a difference in someone else's life, then it gives you this great sense of purpose.
Yeah.
So we all need it.
100%. And the amazing thing about this is that like the other juvenile facilities that we're talking about are like, yes, please. Right. So it's just spreading like wildfire now.
Yeah.
And we're also going into addiction recovery
Wow.
programs.
Oh, wow.
Because it's kind of the same kind
Concept.
of population,
Yeah.
except older, but same concept, where it's like opening the door to creativity and like how can that impact your life in a positive, like a really transformational way.
Yes.
I can see
And
that
so
happening.
like it's not just like it's awesome that it's like the impact of it and the business model works, so it's sustainable, and so like more and more people can do this, and I'm so fired up about it. It's so
I'm
exciting.
excited.
I'm
you.
excited for you too. That's
great.
And also all these kids and adults. I think
Right.
it's just amazing. It's
I
amazing.
mean,
I'm
if we can
so
just
happy for you.
Yeah, if we can just be making more music, I mean, like it's like what a better world that'll be, you know?
Yes. So as you look ahead, what feels most energizing right now? Is it what's going on and happening for everything, for like the music and just in your own creative life? What are you most excited and energized by?
The way that they kind of intersect, which is like I'm living the life of someone who creativity and music is like kind of at the core of what I do, how I bring value into the world. And so like monetizing that and making that my career path.
You're living your soul's purpose.
Right. So with the band, everything, like that is one of the most pure expressions of that. And we're, with this album, we're hoping that has planted a new seed into the world that like, who knows, like I would love to do a thing with the Richmond Symphony, you know, Richmond Symphony, if you're out there, check it out. But also like, with these kids, so there are all these kind of really wonderful overlaps into like the music and everything in these really fun
Steve, there's
ways.
lots of possibilities there. I see it just going and going.
You'll be
know?
in your 80s like the Rolling Stones, still carrying on.
I hope so. I mean, like, what a great life, you know? Like, that's, I think, and it's funny seeing, like, this kid that just got out. Like, it's like, he's come alive with it, you know? And it's like that soul purpose thing where it's like, that's what it does. That's how you can tell that you're on that path is like, oh, this. Like,
you're igniting the fire in a younger person
Totally.
and seeing them, like, get out of that. Because I think these kids, they need a purpose. They need something that where they can be
100%.
creative. And
Something that'll make them smile again.
yeah.
Yes.
And all of us. I mean, I think like it's interesting, like the algorithm and the like our addiction to screens and like where we're at right now with that, like feels like a really like kind of dark and
numbing. It numbs you out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
It numbs that creative
Exactly.
that spark that might be
and
in
this
you.
is the opposite of that.
Yes.
This is like creating and sharing and like positivity and joy and like that's it just feels like
self-expression.
Amen to that.
yeah.
So, gold nugget
Gold
time.
nugget. So, Steve, we want to ask you, what is one bit of life advice you can give to our listeners based on everything you have learned up until now?
So this is something that I tell kids, but it's equally applicable to adults. And it's the idea that like your sole purpose, what you should be doing is this like intersection of your experience, your skills, and your passion, right? So if you take those three things and like in the center of them where they all overlap, that's what you should be doing. And that makes sense. But the thing,
Can you say that again? Say that again.
so the intersection of your skills, your experience, and your passion, right? Like what you love to do, what you're good at doing, and what you have experience with. Like the intersection of that is your sweet spot.
I love it. I love
right?
that. I love
and
it so
here's
much.
the thing. It's not just like that's what's going to fulfill you the most. It's where you're going to outcompete everybody because like nobody else has that same thing.
That's right.
Right? And so it's like it's not just like you should be doing that because it'll make you feel good. It's because you're going to be the best at that.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that advice.
Awesome.
And another thing I've learned here too is that if you've had a passion when you were in your 20s and it just lit you up, and whether you were painting or writing or whatnot, and then family and life and jobs all got in the way, I'm hearing that you can go back to that. It's never too late to live your dreams or to go back to what put you on fire.
Now's the time.
Totally. And like so many of us have iPhones or some sort of Apple device. GarageBand comes free on that joint.
Yes,
That's
it
right.
does.
And like all you have to do, I swear, like this is day one in the curriculum, but open up the GarageBand, open up the loop library and start dragging loops in, and you're making music in like 2 minutes.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, look at this, I'm making this. And it goes from there. But like it's just like that thing where people think it's so remote and it's like, well, I need to get lessons or whatever.
It's
It's
not
like,
actually.
no, you don't. Like just open up that piece of technology and like start using it for good.
Oh, that's great advice.
My son, who's 15 now, when he was about 11, he opened up that GarageBand and went on to Logic Pro on his own at 11.
Yeah.
With a producer at from Bach to Rock, and he made like 12 songs that were amazing.
Yeah.
Lyrics, music, everything. I mean,
heard
he
some of
poured
those
out his
songs.
soul in these songs.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to see how it was enabling him to express, things that he was going through.
Totally.
And music is just a beautiful thing in that way.
Yeah.
It's my most favorite creative art.
100%.
I love it.
It's
I
just
love music
magic.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, it's been so good to have you on,
Steve,
my brother.
This has been
Thank you
so
for coming.
amazing and
Thanks.
so fun.
Thanks.
I really love everything that you shared, and that I'm so happy you're giving back and helping others with your music, and your passion about it just really came through. So thank you so much for
Good luck
being a
with
guest on our
everything.
show.
Like the
Yeah.
music, I'm going to put
Thanks.
all of the notes in our liner and comments and captions. So
And also-
please go on to Facebook, Insta,
And also,
YouTube.
if you need to find Steve, we'll have his
I'm going
information.
to put it all in
All
there.
of it.
Right.
All of it.
Awesome.
So,
Love it.
So I just want to wish everyone a very happy holiday, Merry Christmas
yes,
out there.
Yeah.
that's right.
Enjoy the
because that's
season.
the next major holiday to come up.
You know what I love about the holiday season? It's the only time that we can sing together, except for Happy Birthday. It's the only time that we all know the songs and sing together.
Christmas
other than
caroling.
like you can go to a concert or whatever. But like anybody anywhere is like Jingle Bells. Yeah, we all know Jingle Bells. So let's
Yeah.
sing it.
We're all singing in the car, or does anybody go Christmas caroling anymore? Or
No,
door
but we
to door?
should.
We
Let's
do it. We do it in my family. We do it after Thanksgiving. Like we, as soon as the meal is done, instead of like turning on the game, we all pick up instruments and sing Christmas carols together.
That's
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fun.
Let's do that.
Happy.
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 Happy
Happy Mary.
Right. Right.
All right, everybody.
All right, you guys,
Thanks for
y'all
listening
have a great
in.
week and a good holiday.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Boom.
Bye-bye. Don't forget, you can find Midlife Talkshop on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Please hit the follow button and subscribe.